Hey, what's up, guys? Master Flex here. I hope you guys can see me because one of my light bulbs blew out, and I remember the last time I did a video about a month or so ago. Someone commented on the comment section and said they couldn't really see me that well, but I'm talking loud enough, so as long as you can hear me, that should be great. We are reaching the last couple of days of 2017, and I've been doing this thing quite a while now where every time it reaches towards the end of the year, I've done a video of my top 10 WWE match year candidates that I believe was a match of the year, was the match of the year. And I think the only time that I did one where it wasn't the actual year where I did it was when I did 2015 one, and I also did one for 2016, but now I'm going to do one for 2017. And let me just say this now. I just found out yesterday that Cena versus AJ Styles was PWI voted for that as the match of the year of this year. So due to that reason, there is no, there's only, I try to stay away from putting Cena and Styles on this list that much, especially Cena. Especially Cena because, excuse me, even though Cena had a few good matches this year, I mean, I try to kind of keep him away from this list because given that him and AJ already was voted as the match of the year for this year, it just wouldn't make any sense for me to have them on the list that I made. So I'm just going to say quite a few things here about my list. Now, I try to make my list a little bit different than everybody else's. We're so used to hearing like the same type matches on everybody's videos that they do is like the match of the year for 2017. So I kind of made mine a little bit different. There are some matches on my list that I thought that was a match of the year this year that you probably have heard on everybody's list. There are some matches on my list that I'm pretty sure everybody else doesn't have on their list. And, you know, for the people who actually make actual wrestling videos, like actual videos of the matches, you know, those type of people who make highlight type videos of the match of the year, they probably put those same type of matches that you hear all the time. And I try to make mine a little bit different where I didn't do that so that I can kind of isolate, you know, and distinct from everybody else, because there are some matches I thought that was a match of the year that you wouldn't hear everybody saying on their list, and then there's some that you pretty much have heard or seen on everybody's list that they've done of wrestling videos. So before I start this list, I just want to say that this was definitely, last year, I believe, was the year of AJ Styles, because it was his debut years when he first came to WWE, but this was certainly not the year of AJ Styles. As much as I love AJ Styles, this was not the year of AJ Styles. This was definitely the breakout year for Braun Strowman. And it's hard for me to say that because I'm more of a Samoa Joe fan. But, see, the thing is, looking at the beginning of the year to now, the one thing about Samoa Joe that kind of brought him down was his injury. Because the thing was, Samoa Joe, like, he didn't really grow on me until he started his feud with Brock Lesnar. After he won that Fatal 5-Way match at Extreme Rules, and when he started his feud with Brock Lesnar, that's when he started to grow on me, because that was really when I started falling in love with Samoa Joe. He still is my favorite, don't get me wrong. But I have to give credit where credit's due. Even though Samoa Joe is my favorite, pretty much after that feud, after SummerSlam, he really, you know, he got hurt, and that just kind of messed up his momentum. But he came back, and now he's still dominant as he can be. But Braun, from January to Royal Rumble, when he interfered in that match of Roman versus Kevin Owens, all the way up to the end of the year, he really stepped up his game. And I think a lot of it has to do with his feud he had with Roman Reigns, because that feud really elevated Braun Strowman into the top, that feud really helped Braun Strowman get over a lot with Roman Reigns, and then from there, he just continued to be dominant in his little short feud he had with the Big Show. They didn't have any pay-per-view matches, but when they broke the ring and when he had that steel cage match with him, pretty much was the last match we seen the Big Show. But without further ado, let's get underway. I'm not trying to waste you guys' time running my mouth and talking all the way through the video, because I know certain people, as I get more subscribers, certain people get to the point and all that. But I'm just going to say this, this is my personal opinion, this list. Everybody has their personal opinion. So what I say on this list is literally my personal opinion. This is what I believe, so you don't have to agree. So there we go. At number 10, we have Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. This was the Raw right before the Royal Rumble, January 23rd. Now, let me just say this much. The reason this match is so low on the list, because what killed it for me, and I understood why they did it because of the story, because this story had been going on since last year, and that's kind of the thing. The story dragged way too long, because it wasn't until, it really wasn't until after the Rumble or so that we saw the eyes of Triple H, because that was the debut of my man Samoa Joe. He came after the Rumble, the night after the Rumble. This was the last Raw of January or something. He came and attacked Seth Rollins, and that's how Seth Rollins got re-injured his knee. I think it was a different one this time, but what killed it, because they were actually having a great match, and this is kind of why it's so down on this list, because it's they had a good match, but then that's when Triple H's music hit, and because of Triple H's music, Seth Rollins got distracted and he ended up losing to Sami Zayn. But this was a match to determine who was going to enter into the Royal Rumble between Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins lost because of Triple H's music going on. But other than that, the fact that Seth Rollins hit him for pedigree on the apron, and just all the stuff that was going in the match was really good. And that's kind of one of the problems I have with this year. This happens every year, but this happened a lot this year. This is why my list is so limited with certain matches, is because a lot of times when you got the fans chanting, "This is awesome," and they don't always chant it for the best matches, but when you have that and you don't capitalize on it, that kind of kills it. And one of the problems I have with this year is a lot of the really good matches, their endings is what killed it, because they had bad endings. And that's the reason why they didn't make this list, because there's a lot of good matches that could have been a match a year, but then the ending just messed up the whole entire thing. And for this match here, this was a really good match. The fans was getting into it and everything, and then Triple H's music had to go off, and Sami Zayn wins the match, and there you go. That's what honestly killed it for me, and that's the reason it's so down on this list, because I still think it was a good match between Seth and Sami. Of course, this was obviously before the Superstar shakeup and all that stuff, but this is literally right before the Royal Rumble, because they were fighting to see who was going to get a spot in the Royal Rumble, and then Sami Zayn ended up beating Seth Rollins. And so, like I said, it was a good match. My issue with it was the ending. I get why they did it storyline-wise, but it's just one of those things where when you got a good match going, there's always something that messes it up. That's one of the reasons that keeps me from putting it on my list when I started doing match year candidates. So that's number 10, Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn, the Raw, right before the Royal Rumble. At number 9, we have Bray Wyatt versus AJ Styles versus John Cena. This was for the WWE Championship. This was the night after. This was 2 nights after the Elimination Chamber. This was a heck of a match. Now, given that SmackDown was only 2 hours, and they only had for so much time they had to do this match, you gotta give them credit. And like I said, since Cena and AJ already got the match of the year already, I try to keep them away from this list as much as possible. This is like the only time on this list you're gonna hear AJ and Cena's name. Other than that, you won't really hear the name again. Even though AJ had more good matches than this one, I think this match is really good, especially for Bray, because this was coming off of Bray winning the WWE Championship at the Elimination Chamber. And let me just say this, that's another match that most people have put on their lists. You know, when people make their videos of match of years, that's another match they put on there is the Elimination Chamber when Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship. And I'm going to just say this, it was shocking, it was unexpected, it was good, the Elimination Chamber was good. This is probably one of the best Elimination Chambers I've seen in a while. This was a really good one. But I didn't put it on this list just for the simple fact that I knew other people was going to put it on theirs. Like I said, the way that I made this list, I wanted to make it where there are certain matches that you hear like all the time, everybody got that they think was a match a year, but then I wanted to blend my stuff in it. I mean, because all this is my stuff, but I wanted to blend my stuff in it to where everything doesn't seem like I'm just copying off somebody else. And in this case, this match here at SmackDown, I think was a really good match. Bray Wyatt retained his WWE Championship. And he even pinned, I believe he even pinned John Cena to retain it. He didn't even pin AJ Styles. He actually pinned John Cena in this match. But this was a good match on SmackDown Live. This was actually when SmackDown Live was like red hot. I mean, I still, from the beginning to the end, I always kept in track with SmackDown Live, but it's like, you could definitely tell that the shakeup messed it up in a lot of ways, because I also heard some rumors that the old writer stopped writing for it or something like that. But this was a good match. AJ Styles versus Bray Wyatt versus John Cena for the WWE Championship and the Elimination Chamber. I think this is a really good match. Bray Wyatt managed to retain the WWE Championship. This was literally coming out 2 nights after he won the title. So it made sense for him to retain it. I mean, at the time, it made sense, even though he would lose it to Randy Orton at WrestleMania. At number 8, we have the Usos versus the American Alphas. This was for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, March 28th, SmackDown Live. And let me just say this. This was the first of 3 Tag Team Championships that the Usos would win this year. And this was the starting point to what became one of the greatest runs I've ever seen. The Usos turned heel at the ending of 2016. Like, this was like before 2016 came out. It was between, like, they turned heel between November or October of 2016. This match here was when they first won the SmackDown Tag Team Championship for the first time since the first time they even won a Tag Team Championship in general, the first time since 2014. And this was an incredible match. Oh my God. This was a really good match. And I think, you know, this is definitely something a lot of people wouldn't actually put as to think it was a match of year, but I really like this match that the Usos had with the American Alphas. I think the American Alphas and the Usos had quite a few good matches together, but this one right here, for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships on March 28th, SmackDown Live, this was a good match, because this was when the Usos won their first of 3 Tag Team Championships this year, and this was definitely the year of the Usos, because by them being heel, and by them finally winning the Tag Team Championships on this night, and the reaction of the crowd was just unbelievable when they beat the American Alphas for the title. It was just an unbelievable crowd when they beat the American Alphas for the title. They were just red hot in this one. And like I said, they kept the momentum going from this point here, doing this match, all the way to the ending of the year to now. It's just unbelievable how the Usos did this year. This was definitely the year the Usos, without a shadow of a doubt. So this will not be the first time you hear the Usos' name on this list, because this was definitely a good match. with the Usos and American Alphas. I think this was an incredible match between the two because it was just so many near falls, and you nearly thought the American Alphas was going to retain. Out of nowhere, the Usos managed to win the tag team titles. And like I said, this was their first three. They're now five-time tag team champions. This was their first of three, so this was just unbelievable. At number 8, the Usos versus American Alphas. Unbelievable. At number 7, we've got Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Hardy Boys at the Great Balls of Fire. Now, I think, honestly, this match is sort of underrated, if you ask me. I don't think a lot of people would say that this was like a match a year type match, but I really enjoyed this match. This was an Iron Man match, actually, 60-minute Iron Man match, the tag team match between the two. And this was actually, I believe that this was the best match of the whole entire card of the Great Balls of Fire. Like, I think this match here beat everything. Sad to say, it even beat the main event with Samoa Joe where my man Samoa Joe went against Brock Lesnar. This match here was probably the best match, even though, you know, you had the ending where Cesaro kind of ran around the ring so that Jeff would pin him, so he kind of made the clock run out so they could get the last fall and retain their tag team titles. But I think this was definitely a good match between the Hardy Boys and Cesaro and Sheamus. They had quite a few encounters. You know, they had their first matchup with each other, with just them two at Payback. Then they face each other again at Extreme Rules. And then they face each other again at Great Balls of Fire. I just think out of all three of them, I think this was probably the best one. Hold on, guys. My bad, folks. Hold on. I'm back. Okay, like I was saying, had to pause for a second. Like I said, at number 7, you have Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Hardy Boys of Great Balls of Fire. I think this match was definitely an underrated match. I don't think a lot of people would say that this was like a match of year material, but I think this was definitely like a match of year because the Hardy Boys like worked their butts off in this match. Given that these guys were away from WWE for about 7 years or so, since 2010, and they made their comeback at WrestleMania and won the tag team titles at WrestleMania, the Raw tag team titles at WrestleMania, and that was like Jeff Hardy's first win ever at WrestleMania. And then they started this feud with Sheamus and Cesaro. It was a heck of a deal. It was a heck of a deal. And I personally think that Sheamus and Cesaro feud that they have with the Hardy Boys was a little better than the feud that they've been having for the last couple of months with Dean Ambrose and Seth. For the simple fact that with their feud, the matches didn't seem continuous. Like, it didn't seem like they were doing the same stuff in every match. It seemed like in every match there was something different. Like, in every match, it just got better and better. And for this one, I think, even though their Hell in a Cell match, word of my mind, even though their steel cage match was good at Extreme Rules, because you had Jeff Hardy to whisk the win from the top of the cage, which ended up causing them to lose the tag team titles, but I think this match was excellent. I think this was well executed because the way that Sheamus and Cesaro basically Cesaro just ran around the ring to prevent himself from being pinned at the last couple of seconds of the Iron Man match. But they were pretty much closely with each other in score anyway. The Hardy Boys already scored a couple of points from pinning Sheamus and Cesaro. I think there was this one point in the match where it was either Jeff or Matt. One of them did like a twist of fate from the top rope. It was just a really good match. Like, hands down, you name it. And, you know, I know that I believe it was the Payback match. I don't think it was this one. It might have been a payback match. I could be wrong. One of these matches where Jeff Hardy's teeth, one of his tooth came out. I don't think it happened on this one. It might have. It was a payback one, but it was brutal. Like, this was a really good match. I think this definitely deserves. This definitely was like a match of year for me. Great Balls of Fire. A lot of people kind of crapped on this pay-per-view because of the name. But personally, I think, like, out of every match that happened at the Great Balls of Fire, I think this was, like, one of the best ones. This was definitely, like, one of the best matches that happened at the Great Balls of Fire. And that's saying a lot, given that I even said that this was better than the main event, because the main event was a letdown, with Brock and Samoa Joe, especially with how good the build-up was with Brock and Samoa Joe. The main event was a letdown, but this match was definitely great. The tag team match. I noticed a lot of tag team matches this year kind of outshine singles matches or stuff like that, and that's kind of sad looking back on it. But this was definitely a good match. I don't think a lot of people, like I said, would give this match the much credit it deserves, but I think this match of Great Balls of Fire was just a really good match. At number 6, we have the Valentine Dream, boy, versus Aleister Black, NXT TakeOver in Houston. Now, this match just took place last month. This was right before Survivor Series. Let me just say this. This is the first match that the Valentine Dream had on, like, an NXT pay-per-view. This was a heck of a match. This was incredible. And the whole purpose of this match, even the build-up of it, was sort of for the Valentine Dream to try to gain. He wanted to get the respect of Aleister Black. He wanted him to say his name. He wanted to get Aleister Black respect. And boy, did he get it. This was a heck of a match. My goodness, this was unbelievable. The athleticism, even though a lot of people kind of question his character, you cannot deny the athleticism, the hard work, and the effort and just unbelievableness that the Valentine Dream put in this match. Like, this was a phenomenal match. Even though he lost, and even though Aleister Black won, this was an incredible match. I really liked this match. I never looked at it in full, but normally, like, matches like these, pay-per-view matches, I always look at the highlights, which is why I determined was pretty much be looking at all the matches. Because you think about it, you look at the highlights, that pretty much is the whole entire match. But this was a good match. I really think, like I said before, I really think the Valentine Dream really took it to Aleister Black. You could definitely tell that Aleister Black just didn't have anything but to say his name at the end of this. This was an incredible match between the two. This was really good for Aleister Black. This was like his first time being on NXT pay-per-view. I can definitely see a bright future in this man if he, stays on NXT and keep going. He's only 22 years old. I can definitely see a bright future in him. If hopefully, somewhere down the line he gets called to the main roster, and hopefully he's like a success in the main roster, because this is not a talent. WWE has made so many mistakes of getting rid of good talent. This is definitely not a talent that they want to that they need to get rid of at all. They definitely need to keep him, because this match here is like the setting point of good matches to come that this man can have. Like, this was just an unbelievable match, and this is why I put it so high on the list, because, personally, a lot of people said they liked this match. A lot of people, NXT TakeOver, a lot of people did say they liked this match. The fact that it just happened last month, I don't think a lot of people have this on their list. I did see it on one list. One of my YouTubers, one of his highlights, I did see this match on there. But this was an incredible match with the Valentine Dream, Aleister Black. Without a shadow of a doubt, this was a good match. At number 6. Now, at number 5, boy, oh boy, you have the Usos versus the New Day versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam pre-show. Now, I'm going to say this. Out of all the matches that the Usos and the New Day have each other, me, quite frankly, I think this match here was the best one out of every last one of them. And the second best one that I liked out of all the pay-per-view matches they had with each other was their was the match they had on SmackDown Live on September 12th when they were in Las Vegas, that street fight. I like that one too. But I just think there was something special about this match. I think this match, out of all the matches they have with each other, this was like my favorite one of all. And I do know that a lot of people or some people would have this on their list, but this was an unbelievable match. Hands down, even if you're not a fan of the New Day, this was like this rivalry with the New Day and the Usos was one of the greatest rivalries that ever took place this year. It was one of the best rivalries ever. And the Usos were already red hot because I already said their names early in the list. I said you guys will hear their name more than once on this list. I already said the names early in this list. They were already red hot. But when they started this feud with the New Day, because before the New Day, their last feud, they actually had a thing where they had beat Fandango and Tyler Breeze for the tag. They retained their tag team titles against them at Backlash. That was pretty good. But when they started this thing with the New Day, this is really like what got them like really, really red hot. Like they were already good, but this was amazing. And like I said, even if you don't like the New Day, even if you think the New Day got still, you gotta admit that this was a really amazing match, hands down for the New Day. Especially what I really like about this match was the uniqueness and just the new move sets that they put into this match. Because this was like the first time you've seen Big E uh, pick up Xavier Woods, powerbomb him on one of the Usos. Then Xavier Woods picks up Big E, slams him to the Usos. I mean, they were just doing all kinds of stuff that you had never seen. And I mean, I think this match, like I said, was the best one of all of them. And the second one that I like out of all of their matches was the one they had on SmackDown Live, the street fight at Las Vegas. I think that was personally, that's my second favorite match. Their final match, Hell in a Cell, that was a good match. But my favorite two of all time will always be their SummerSlam match they had the pre-show, which is why it's a shame that it was even on the pre-show, because they needed this match to be on the main card, especially with how the main card turned out. This match could have really helped the show if this had been on the main card. It's a shame to think that this match was on the pre-show, and this is the only time you'll ever hear me in history say a match is on the pre-show as a match of the year. But it deserved it. It was a pre-show match, but it felt like a main card match. I mean, this match stole the show, hands down. This match stole the show. This absolutely stole the show. The Usos and the New Day stole the show at SummerSlam. And that's why I said out of all their matches they had, this is my personal favorite. I like their match they had at Battleground. The one they had at Money in the Bank, that's when it ended by them getting counted out. But the Battleground match was good. The match they had, Hell in a Cell, was good. But this was the best one, in my opinion, out of all their matches. And like I said, this was just an unbelievable rivalry these two built this year, and it came to an end. Hell in a Cell. And see, one of the differences between on Raw, where you got the Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, their constant matches with Cesaro and Sheamus, compared to the Usos and the New Day thing, was you could watch the Usos and the New Day over and over again and not get tired of it, because every match they had, it was just something different in the matches. It was the same as Cesaro versus Dean Ambrose and Seth. It was good when they started it, but then after a while, it just got redundant, and it just seemed like, and even the fact that Dean just got injured last week on Raw, it just kind of seems like as they continued it, it just kind of got very repetitive, and it's like at this point, it's at the point now where I'm just kind of sick of seeing those two teams face each other. But for the Usos and New Day, every time they had a one-on-one tag team match against each other, from the time of their first one all the way up until Hell in a Cell one, they were all just good matches, every single one of them. And I'm not saying this to say, to handpick the Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and James Cesaro thing, but I think this one was just a lot better because every match they had with each other, it was just something different in the matches, something unique, something very different they had with every match. It's something that stood out in every single match. You could just watch the New Day and the Usos square off day in and day out, and and not get tired of it. That's just how good their matches were this year, and this actually I think also was like the breaking point for the New Day as well, because you look at it and a lot of people from the first half of this year, the New Day weren't really doing much. When they was on Raw, they were kind of just scanning around. They weren't really like actually in any big feud. But when they started this feud with the Usos, it really got them under the map and got them back, big again. Because before this, they weren't really doing much after 2016 because they had the tag team title for so long from on Raw and stuff. It was like the fact they had the titles was long. Once they lost them, it wasn't much they were doing. So when they started trading the tag team titles back and forth with the Usos, this was really the match here. This feud here really is what got them back on track, in my opinion. I just really think this got them back on track because you look at WrestleMania, they didn't even have a match. They was hosting WrestleMania. They weren't even wrestling WrestleMania. It just kind of proves that this thing with the Usos really got them back on the map. And hopefully this year at WrestleMania, they're not on the pre-show. Neither the Usos. It seems like every time the Usos have a match at WrestleMania, it's always at the pre-show. They definitely don't deserve to be on the pre-show of this WrestleMania. But like I said, this was definitely an amazing match. That's why I put it so high on this list. I know a lot of people wouldn't put this as like the number 5 match on their list, but this is my list. And like I said before, this was just an unbelievable match with the Usos and the New Day at SummerSlam. I think out of all the matches they had, this was like the best one. I would say the second best that I like, other than this one, is their Street Fight one on SmackDown Live. I like that one too because the New Day won that match. The Usos won the match at SummerSlam, but the New Day won that match on SmackDown Live. It's kind of weird because when you think about it on pay-per-view, the only match that the New Day beat the Usos in were like, they beat them at Battleground. They technically beat them at Money in the Bank too, but that was like, they got counted out, so they didn't win the titles. So the Usos won like majority of the matches in their feud. New Day only won for so much matches in their feud, looking back on it. But it was a good match. Definitely a good match. And that's why I put it as the number 5 match in this list. At number 4, this is SummerSlam again. We have Braun Strowman versus Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. This was the main event for the WWE, for the Universal Championship. I don't know why it's the WWE. I mean, did you really think I was going to make a list and not include my man Samoa Joe? No. At least at some point, include him as like a part of a match a year. I think with this match here, the thing that made it so good, Braun definitely played a huge role in this match. I think by being a fatal 4-way, it really helped. It really helped this match a lot. Like it really did, because you had Brock Lesnar get powerbomb to a table twice. He got power slammed through a table twice, 2 different tables. Gets carried out of the arena, and you got Samoa Joe and Braun and Roman, all 3 of them still going at it, and then he comes back like he's coming from war, and then he attacks Braun Strowman, and then the guy that he F5s to win the match is Roman Reigns. I think this match was definitely a really good match. A lot of it doesn't really have to do with Brock Lesnar, which is the sad part. Like they're the ones that helped this be a good match. I mean, Brock Lesnar had his moments, but I mean, when you look at it, and this has been going on for like the last couple of years now. You look at a lot of Lesnar matches now, and pretty much he just does the same thing. Just suplex after suplex after suplex. That's like all he does in his matches now. For this one, it was different because you had Braun in the picture, you had Samoa Joe in the picture, you had Roman in the picture, so you really couldn't do that as much in this one. I mean, he still hit his suplexes in this match, but he didn't hit as much as he normally would hit it because these guys were countering it, and you just had you just had so much stuff happen in this match. Roman Reigns ended up spearing Brock Lesnar through the barricade, I believe, because he had Brock, because Samoa Joe had him a Kakito clutch, then he moved and he ended up spearing Brock Lesnar. I think that's what happened. He ended up spearing him through the barricade. I think that's what happened. It was so much to happen in this match. Because Brock actually hit two F5s. The first F5, and that's another thing too. This was like the only match where it took Brock two F5s to win. I mean, they've been doing this thing lately where they have Brock do one F5 and then he just wins. And that was the thing that made me mad about the Great Balls of Fire, was the fact that all it took was one F5 and he beat Samoa Joe. And that was his first title defense this year in general, which just killed me. But in this match, he hit Samoa Joe with the F5, and then I think it was Roman that came and stopped the pin. Then he hit Roman with the F5, and then he won and retained his Universal title. But you could definitely, I like the fact that in this match, it looked like Brock was coming from war. And like I said before, the thing is, it's not really Brock that made this match. It was more so them that made this match, because they really made it seem like Brock was just like fighting for his life to keep the title. And, you know, quite frankly, I didn't see a reason for Brock to retain, quite honestly. I mean, we all know why Brock retained the title, but I didn't see a reason for him to, especially with the way the match turned out. It just didn't make any sense at all for him to retain it, but it is what it is. That's why I put it at number 4, because it was still a really good match. And a lot of it was just the destruction of Braun Strowman. And then my man Samoa Joe had his moments in the match where it looked like he was going to win. Roman Reigns had his moments where it looked like he was going to win. I mean, it was just all types of stuff happening in this match that was just unbelievable. All types of action in this match that just made it unbelievable. And I think that's really what made this match so good, even though the outcome wasn't what anyone wanted. I mean, Brock had his fans, had a few fans for him, but even though the outcome isn't what anybody wanted, we want to see a title change, it was still a good match. A lot of people say that the Brock and AJ thing, he actually tried. I mean, I'm not going to put that on this list. I wouldn't put this on my list, though, because, I mean, it's kind of like, he did, but he didn't. It's weird to explain. But for this match here, like, it was just unbelievable. I think this match was really good. There are a lot of people that put this on their lists, but like I said before, there are some matches on this list that you'll see a lot of people do. And there are some matches that everybody hasn't put on their list. So that's number 4. At number 3, we have Samoa Joe versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor at Extreme Rules. And this was actually before Great Balls of Fire. This was to determine who would face Brock Lesnar at the Great Balls of Fire for the Universal title. Now, of course, I had to put this match on here because my man Samoa Joe won. And at the time, it was actually shocking that Samoa Joe won, because it wasn't like anybody suspected Samoa Joe to be the guy to win. Because when Samoa Joe won, we knew that we were getting the dream match. Because Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar had been like a dream match for years that people have been wanting to see. And the fact that Samoa Joe won this match, and he won it clean. My man's won it clean because he ended up putting, because just when it looked like Finn Balor was going to win, because in the closing moments of the match, Finn Balor had hit Roman Reigns with the coup de grace. And then Samoa Joe comes out of nowhere, puts him in the Kikita clutch, makes him pass out, and wins the match. That was like the perfect ending that they could have possibly had. Because I don't think anyone expected that. Everybody thought Finn Balor was going to win after he did that. But then Samoa Joe just comes out of nowhere, put him in a Kikita clutch. There was so much stuff that also happened in this match that it was just crazy. I mean, you had one of them getting speared and barricaded in this one. You had Seth Rollins doing the frog splash through the announce table. I think he did this to Bray Wyatt. I mean, this match was also jam-packed action. And the closing moments of the match was like the best part because out of nowhere, Samoa Joe, like he wasn't even in the ring. He just comes out of nowhere and just puts Finn Balor in Kikita clutch and makes him pass out. A lot of people thought that they were going to give it to Roman or Finn Balor or one of them. They pretty much thought that it was going to be one of those guys because everybody suspected it to be one of the typical people to face Brock Lesnar. But one of the reasons why you could kind of tell that it wasn't going to be Roman was because of the simple fact that it was too early. And given that this is like a build-up to him facing Brock next year, and you know, he faced him at SummerSlam with the Fatal 4-Way, you just kind of knew in a way that they weren't going to have Roman win, because a lot of people feared that they were going to have Roman win. But it was kind of like you knew they weren't going to do that. And so when Samoa Joe won the match, it was like a shocker because no one expected Samoa Joe to win. I don't think that much of anyone suspected Samoa Joe to win that match. I think a lot of people didn't expect him to win at all. They all thought that it was going to be either Roman or Ben and maybe slightly Bray. But no one thought he was going to win because even like when you look at like a lot of times they have a lot of spoilers where they kind of can tell you who's going to win the match before it happens. The match is pre-determined, obviously. They kind of try to like have little spoilers, and even with that, there was like no thing I read back then that was talking about Samoa Joe winning. So it was kind of like it was kind of like a surprise to a lot of people that Samoa Joe had won the match, and it was even surprising me. I was glad he won it. This was, well, like I said at the time, this is actually him winning is what started to make him grow on me, because that's when he started the whole feud with Brock Lesnar, and it was a heck of a feud. You know, you had him attacking Brock Lesnar from behind, putting him a heel clutch from the stage. You just had he even put Paul Heyman up a heel clutch before he did the Lesnar. I mean, you had so much stuff with their feud. I mean, this is what made me fall in love with Samoa Joe. Like I said, this match here was an incredible match. This is definitely a match of the year for me, at number 3. Because the one thing that stands out the most about this match is that Samoa Joe, you know, he won clean and nobody suspected Samoa Joe to win. Like, no one suspected him to even win the match. So it was definitely like a big, big deal for him to win. So that's at number 3. At number 2, and guys, let me just say this now, it was kind of tough for me to come up with the last 2 good matches. Like I said, part of the reason is because I try to avoid a lot of AJ Styles stuff. I try to avoid the Cena stuff, the couple of matches he had good this year, because it was like they already got voted match year, so it just would have made any sense to have them as like the guys or whatever. I would say that at number 2 we have Sheamus and Cesaro versus Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins at No Mercy. Now, the only reason this match is so high on this list is has a lot to do with the fact that this was the match where Cesaro's teeth had went like I can't remember how many inches, but it went like 16 something inches up his mouth, and his teeth nearly lost a tooth in this match. Like it shoved straight up his mouth. This match was the famous match known for that, and the reason it got so high on this list was because after it happened, it's like the match really started to pick up. Now the difference between this one and their match at SummerSlam was the main thing most people remember that match for is the fact that Cesaro went out to the crowd, took a beach ball and ripped it apart, and then the match started to pick up. But for this one, the match started to pick up literally after the incident with Cesaro's teeth happened. And it was just brutal. I mean, it really got brutal. After that happened, this match really started to pick up, and it just got extremely brutal. And this is like I said, this is literally this is the second time you heard Sheamus Cesaro's name as far as match of the year, and this is the first time you hear Dean Ambrose and stuff together. Because it's like with their constant matches, unlike the New Day and the Usos, where I can just watch them forever. Quite frankly, I think with them, because they've had way too many matches with each other, I think with them, it's like their matches just get, it just got to a point where it happens so much. And here's the thing. Here's the problem with the Sheamus Cesaro, with the Shimaro thing, and the Seth and Dean matches, is the fact that it didn't even just happen on pay-per-views. It also kept happening at on Raws, on Monday Night Raw. So it just got it's very repetitive. I'm hoping, and the fact that they just had Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins face them on this past Raw and win the tag team titles, which basically meaning that if Dean Ambrose wasn't injured, they would have had to face them again for the tag team titles. I mean, it's like, I'm hoping by like the beginning of next year, or at least by February or something, they put an end to them two facing each other, because it's getting ridiculous. It's like, you know, their matches have gotten so redundant. I'm just basically sick of seeing them, because it's like the same things happen in every match at this point. And it's good, but it's like you just get tired of seeing it over and over again. It seems like they face each other 1,000 times. It seems like they face each other way more times than the New Day and the Usos have. It's like they face each other just way too many times. And like I said, out of all the matches they've had with each other, quite frankly, I would say this one at No Mercy is my personal favorite. A lot of it has to do with the fact that after the thing with Cesaro's teeth happened, the match really started to pick up. They got very brutal. And Seth and Dean ended up retaining the Raw Tag Team titles. And like I said, this is the only match you're going to hear with them two on this list, because it's like, it just happened way too many times, man. I mean, I can't stress it enough. It happened way too many times. Way too many times. Like, it's like when a thing keeps happening like 1,000 times or multiple times, it's like you just get sick of it. And that's basically the case with this. It just happened way too much. But I definitely would say that No Mercy is probably my favorite of the stick. A lot of reasons why, but I would definitely put that as number 2. I know a lot of people wouldn't put that so high on the list, but I would say that as number 2. And number 1, now, I'm sorry SmackDown Live, I'm sorry Monday Night Raw, but you do not win this one. This was a tough one to choose, because a lot of people have chosen this match. I chose it because I really like it. I really did like it, looking at it myself. And I think this match was just incredible. I think this match was unbelievably good. I just think this match is very special. This is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. If they weren't going to give it to Cena and AJ, I mean, as far as like after this match, you can argue that nothing really happened with the two, but this was just a good match. At number one, this does not go to SmackDown. This does not go to Raw. It doesn't go to SmackDown Live. It doesn't go to Monday Night Raw. At number one, we got Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate for the United Kingdom Championship, or NXT Takeover, and I believe this is in Chicago. Like I said, I wasn't trying to make this list like everybody else's, because I'm sure a lot of other people think this is like match of this year. But this is me personally saying this. This was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. Like point blank between these two, unbelievable. The just the stuff I've seen in this match. This match was incredible. Oh my God, this was an amazing match. This was unbelievably good. Like I really love this match. Like it's just amazing. But you know, like I said before, I wasn't really trying to sound like everybody else, what everybody else is saying. But this was definitely a good match. This was just unbelievable. Like these two guys, because they had just started the United Kingdom thing like the beginning of this year. They battled it off at NXT Takeover Chicago. What an